How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brown Logan, and today we got to talk about Papa John's Pizza. Now, they've been in the news quite a lot lately. The first time was a few months ago, if I'm not mistaken, because they were talking about Obamacare. Remember, they were saying how Obamacare is going to hurt them, is going to hurt the employees, is going to hurt their smaller chains, their independently owned franchises that franchise with the larger corporation of Papa John's. And then recently they were in the news because of the CEO, well, former CEO, we'll get to that in just a moment, John Schnatter, who is Papa John, literally the guy that's on the box, that's him. He came out and said that the NFL protests have been hurting sales at Papa John's for in-game pizza purchases, which is a big part of their business. You know, they have commercials on TV. They are an official NFL sponsor, so they really count on those game day, Sunday afternoon, Sunday night pizza purchases as a big part of their business. That had been down this year. I think since December of 2016, Papa John's shares are down almost 1/3, right around 32%. So it's a pretty big and dramatic decrease in their actual shares. Other pizza spots have come out and said that they've not been affected. I think it might have been Domino's or Chinello. Some other company has said that they've not been affected. If I could find out what company that is, I'll put that in the description box below. So there's been some back and forth on social media between people talking about whether the NFL protests really hurt Papa John's or it didn't. Whatever the case may be, he has stepped down as the CEO. Okay. Now, I've heard different things about this. I've heard that it was a board decision because when you have a big company like that, you have a board and they can make decisions upon who is an employee and who is not. As the CEO, he was behaving as an employee, even though he is the founder and I presume the largest shareholder of the company. Now, he's still with the company as the chairman of the board, but he's no longer in the CEO position. The COO or former COO, Steve Ritchie, has stepped into his position. I've read in an article that Steve Ritchie had been in control of operations for the past 3 years anyway, so it's not really that big of a transition. People have said within the company, according to statements that I've read, that it was just the right time to do it, but it didn't come out and directly say if the move was because of the statements about the NFL and the protests and how it affected pizza sales or not. Now, I'm not really sure what the purpose of this is. You know, this is the main guy. This is the guy that's in your commercials. This is the guy that's on the pizza boxes. This is the face of the franchise. This is the guy who started the company by himself. I think he started the company in his dad's tavern in a broom closet. He started from there and grew it exponentially to the point where it's at today, where it's the number 3 largest pizza chain in the U.S. I presume behind Pizza Hut, number 1. And Domino's, number 2. I presume. Maybe I'm wrong about that. If I am, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, this is just a result of the social media, social justice warrior frenzy that came as a result of him saying what he said. I think, in my humble opinion, maybe it's deeper than that. Maybe there's other issues behind the scenes. But if it's deeper than that, then I find the timing of this very, very confusing. I don't think that this is something that will be done right now if it was not for the previous comments that have been made that people took issue with. And my thing is, what are you going to accomplish by this? I don't think the investors really see removing Papa John from his position as CEO as something that's going to actually help the stock prices rebound from the 32% loss that they are right now. Matter of fact, after the news broke that he had been removed as CEO, or he stepped down, so-called air quotes here, stepped down as CEO, there was a greater drop in the share price than had been seen in the past 2 weeks. So maybe it was just a coincidence. Maybe it's a whole lot of coincidences here. He just happens to be removed right now during a turbulent time when the stock prices are plummeting. Maybe it's a coincidence that he's being removed or stepping down, whatever you want to call it, after he made the NFL comments. Maybe, just maybe, I'm not really sure, but whatever the case may be, he is no longer there. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go forward because, like I said, this is the face of the company. This is the guy on the boxes. You're not going to replace all these boxes because the first thing is he has not been fired from the company. He's not been totally removed from his own company that he started. He's still there as a chairman of the board. He's just no longer in that particular position as CEO. So I'd love to see him come out and do an interview somewhere and talk about what's really happening. Was it a business decision based upon the investors' worries? Was it a board decision? It's like, hey, man, you're getting out of control. You out here as a CEO, you making crazy statements that's hurting the brand. We got to just take you away from here. We can't really remove you from the company per se, but what we can do is take you away from that position because you're harming the brand. However, if that's the case, I don't think it's fair to say that he's harming the brand, because the stock price had been plummeting consistently since December of 2016. There was maybe a sharper decline after he made his comments about the NFL, but that does not stop the fact that the price had already been plummeting before he said what he said. And then beyond that, what he said, in my humble opinion, was true. If you are the official NFL sponsor and people are boycotting games, we know that's going on. We've seen the stadiums halfway empty, halfway full, whatever you want to look at it as. We've seen people all on social media, all on TV, everywhere boycotting the NFL because of the whole kneeling protest thing. We know that's a real thing. We know that the NFL met with the players, was that a month or two ago, to try and resolve the whole situation, which is what John Schnatter was saying from the beginning. He was like, look, the NFL has not resolved the situation. They've not resolved whatever rift is between them and the players. So the protests are continuing. Now the NFL is finally listening and trying to resolve it. However, they've not really been successful. They tried to bribe the players in the league with like $100 million to their favorite charity, so-called favorite charity. They try to do that. The deal's in place. They got all kind of social justice initiatives. They're going to do all different kind of things. They're trying to go above and beyond to solve the situation. But in my humble opinion, it's a little bit too late, too little too late, maybe too much too late, because people were still out there kneeling and protesting after the $100 million was granted, after the whole SJW seminar or whatever they want to call it was granted. After that, you still had some protesters. Now, to the NFL players' credit, it wasn't quite as many protesters as it had been like in preseason and early season, and maybe even into last season when you still had Colin Kaepernick in the league. It's not been that much, but it was still some, to the point where it was noticeable. That gets people upset in a different state of mind. It's like, why would I support you? Why would I support what you're doing when you out here making a mockery out of the game that I love and out of the country that I love? Not everybody is hyper patriotic like that. Not everybody is. Some veterans even are not that patriotic, but at the end of the day, many people are. And it's not up to myself, yourself, or anyone else to tell somebody how they should feel about the flag one way or the other. All that I know is that the proof is in the pudding. People are protesting the games. They're protesting anything affiliated with the NFL, including the NFL's official pizza sponsor in Papa John's. So what do you think? Do you think that John Schnatter was basically forced out as CEO because of his comments about the NFL? Now, if you think that way, then explain to me the rationale behind their decision to do that. Do you think it's going to actually help the sales? Do you think that people who are protesting Papa John's because of what they said about the NFL are going to be buying pizza on game day? Okay, you got a lot of these people that don't even watch sports. A lot of the protesters are just trying to get attention for themselves and for whatever company they have, for whatever cause they're trying to promote. It's not even about the sport. It's not even about actual fans protesting Papa John's, but maybe it is. Maybe you know better than me. I'm just giving you my opinion. But do you think that it was a good thing to remove John Schnatter as a CEO? Now, if you think that way, then please explain to me why. And if you think that way, do you think they're going to remove him from the pizza boxes, from the commercials? And if they do so, you're talking about millions of dollars. That's not a cheap thing to do. When you're talking about all their locations, there's a number 3 pizza spot in the whole of the USA. All their locations, all the boxes have to be replaced. All the commercials have to be redone, or, you know, just totally taken off the air, and then they got to do a whole new marketing campaign. And who's going to be the next face of the franchise? But you're going to have a NFL celebrity coming there. I think Peyton Manning, he's a big Papa John's endorser. Is he going to be the new John Schnatter? Are you going to put his face on the boxes rather than the guy who started the company with his own blood, sweat, tears? Whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.
I started making pizzas in a small broom closet in my father's tavern with one fundamental core belief. If we used better ingredients, people would eat our pizza. I'm Papa John, and I'm a pizza maker.